The interesting story of how the proud daughter of a rich billionaire learned humility the hard way. Before we dive in, pause for a moment and tell me something. Where in the world are you watching? To subscribe for more interesting stories. Now, lean in, and let's begin. Golden lights danced across glass towers, and engines hummed like restless dreams. Somewhere high above, in a mansion that glittered like a jewel, lived a girl named Naledi Mwansa, the only daughter of billionaire industrialist, Chief Obina Mwansa, founder of Mwansa Holdings International. Naledi was beauty and pride woven into one. She walked through the mansion halls like she owned the world, because, in her mind, she did. Servants bowed, drivers opened doors, and even her father's company executives feared her sharp tongue. She had grown up surrounded by everything money could buy, except humility. At just 23, Naledi was the face of her father's luxury real estate empire. She wore designer heels that never touched the ground without carpets, and sunglasses that hid her eyes even indoors. To her, the poor were lazy, and the humble were weak. Every morning, she would drive to her father's company in her white Bentley, the sound of her arrival striking fear into junior staff. "Why is this place so dirty?" she would snap, even if the floor was spotless. "Didn't I tell you people that mediocrity has no place in this company?" One afternoon, she humiliated a driver who accidentally splashed a bit of dust on her shoes. She slapped him in front of everyone and said, "Do you know how much these shoes cost? Your salary for 2 years wouldn't buy one heel." The staff watched silently. Even her father's loyal assistant, Mr. Adepoju, looked away. No one dared correct her, not even her father. Chief Obina loved his daughter more than life itself. She reminded him of his late wife, beautiful, fierce, and stubborn. But sometimes, love without discipline grows into arrogance. One evening, during a family dinner, Chief Obina spoke softly. "Naledi, my daughter, be careful. The world you look down on today can rise above you tomorrow. Money doesn't buy respect, character does." She laughed and sipped her wine. "Daddy, you worry too much. The world belongs to those who dare to act like they own it." Her father smiled sadly. "Until life teaches you otherwise." Those words would echo in her mind months later, when her life turned upside down. It began on a Friday afternoon. Naledi had just returned from a board meeting where she insulted a senior engineer for questioning her decision. "Fire him," she told her father's HR manager. "No one questions me." That night, as she prepared for a weekend trip to Dubai, her father's driver, Musa, escorted her home from a charity event. Along the quiet highway, 2 black SUVs appeared behind them, then overtook and blocked the road. Before Musa could react, masked men stormed the car, dragged Naledi out, and hit the driver unconscious. Her screams vanished into the forest as they sped away. When Naledi woke up, her wrists were tied, and her designer dress was torn. She was in a small, dirty room with a leaking roof and no windows, just candlelight and silence. Her heart pounded. Where am I?" A rough voice answered. "You're with people who don't care about your father's billions, only the part we can get." The kidnappers demanded 800 million Nigerian nairas in ransom. Chief Obina agreed immediately. But before payment was completed, something went wrong. The kidnappers' leader ran off with the money, leaving the others furious. In their anger, they dumped Naledi in a rural village called Ogita, deep in the countryside, and fled. For the first time in her life, Naledi had nothing, no phone, no guards, no fancy clothes. Just a bruised body and the sound of crickets in the night. She wandered barefoot until dawn, starving and trembling. When she collapsed by a small mud house, an old woman came running. "Ei, my child, are you alright?" The woman cried. Her name was Mama Kofi, a widow known for taking in lost travelers. Naledi tried to speak, but fainted in her arms. When she awoke, she was lying on a bamboo mat, covered with an old blanket. The air smelled of firewood and herbs. Mama Kofi sat by her side, fanning her gently. "You're safe now, my daughter. Eat something," the old woman said, handing her a bowl of pap. Naledi looked disgusted. What is this?" "Food," Mama Kofi replied kindly. "It may not be rich food, but it keeps the heart alive." Naledi turned away, but hunger humbled her. She ate in silence. Days passed. The villagers thought she was a runaway from the city. They called her Nail, since her real name sounded too fancy for them. She learned to fetch water from the stream, cook with firewood, and sell bread in the market. Her soft hands blistered, her skin darkened under the sun. At first, she cried every night, whispering, "Why me? I'm not supposed to live like this." But slowly, something began to change. Mama Kofi treated her like a daughter, correcting her, teaching her humility through daily chores. "Nail, you can't eat until you've helped someone else eat," she'd say. At first, Naledi rolled her eyes. But one morning, when a young boy fell while carrying water, she helped him up, without thinking. That small act melted something in her heart. She began helping at the local school, teaching children how to read. For the first time, she saw joy that money couldn't buy, the laughter of poor children sharing a single pencil. At night, she would sit under the moonlight beside Mama Kofi, listening to stories about loss, survival, and love. One evening, Naledi asked quietly, "Mama, how do you stay happy when you have so little?" Mama Kofi smiled. "Because I have peace, my daughter. And peace is richer than gold." Those words pierced Naledi's heart like a song she had never heard before. Back in the city, Chief Obina was dying inside. He had spent millions on search operations, but no sign of his daughter was found. Newspapers called it the Billionaire's tragedy. One day, while distributing relief supplies to rural areas, his convoy passed through Ogita. By chance, one of his men recognized a familiar face among the villagers, a girl selling bread. "Sir, that looks like Miss Naledi." Chief Obina's heart raced. He stepped out, and when Naledi turned, their eyes met. "Papa," she whispered. He ran to her, tears streaming. "My daughter. You're alive." They held each other for a long time. Mama Kofi watched quietly, smiling. Back home in Edera, Naledi's old life felt like a dream she no longer belonged to. The mansion was the same, but she was not. She thanked every servant she once ignored. She visited Musa, the driver who was injured trying to save her, and paid for his hospital bills. At her father's company, she gathered all staff in the main hall and said, "I owe many of you apologies. I once thought money made me powerful. But real power is kindness, and I lost my way." Some wept. Some applauded. But all forgave her. Months later, Naledi launched the Mama Kofi Foundation to empower rural women and support orphan children. She often returned to Ogita, where she built Mama Kofi a new home, though the old woman still preferred her mud hut. "Nail," Mama Kofi laughed one day, "you brought light back to this village." Naledi smiled. "No, Mama. You lit that light first. I only carried it forward." Years passed. Naledi became known not for her beauty or her father's wealth, but for her humility. At a major business award ceremony, she stood before cameras and said, "Once, I thought the poor were beneath me. Then I became one of them, and found the true meaning of wealth." The crowd rose to their feet in thunderous applause. Later that night, she sat by her father's garden, staring at the stars. A soft wind brushed her face, and she whispered, "Thank you, Mama Kofi, for teaching me to live." Somewhere in the distance, a gentle voice seemed to answer. My daughter, remember, gold shines brighter after it has fallen into the dust. Naledi smiled through tears. The proud daughter was gone. In her place stood a woman reborn, humble, grateful, and strong. She remembered the girl she used to be, the one who measured people by their shoes and voices. Now, she measured them by their hearts. She whispered to herself, I was once lost in pride. But I had to lose everything to find myself. Lightning flashed across the sky, and a calm breeze swept through her curtains. It was as if the heavens themselves whispered, You've learned.